Today on Unsolved, Florida, imagine a 26-year-old mother who is so concerned about her safety that she changes her phone number and her physical phone just weeks before vanishing. She's looking over her shoulder at an ex-boyfriend who's been hacking her accounts and tracking her every move. Then, on a dark March night in Reddick, she vanishes. Sara sends a lighthearted text to her sister. She's getting in a truck with some cowboys, and she hopes they take her on a ride. To the world, it looked like a night of freedom. But while Sara was taking photos at a wooded duplex on Highway 441, a shadow was moving through her life. 3 years later, there is a $35,000 reward on the table, a main person of interest who refuses to speak, and a family that refuses to let the world forget her name. Sara was the baby of the family, the youngest of 7 siblings. Even with the large age gaps, her sisters were inseparable. Life hadn't always been easy for Sara. She married her aunt's neighbor at 18, a marriage that ended after a year simply because they were too young. By 26, Sara was living with a roommate in Reddick and working as an exotic dancer, a lifestyle that she knew made her vulnerable. She had a 5-year-old daughter, a little girl she called Dahlia. Sara last saw her daughter about 2 to 3 weeks before her disappearance, but her daughter was always on her mind. Her final message to her sister Michelle at 7:50 p.m. the night she disappeared was simple: tell her nieces and nephews that she said hi and she loved them. Around 10 p.m., Sara was seen leaving the gas station on Highway 441 with 2 men, Leonard Anderson and James Bubba Robinson. Bubba is in this picture with her. They drove to his house at 18080 North Highway 441. This is the CCTV from that gas station. The property was a subdivided house, a duplex. Bubba lived on one side and another couple lived on the other. For a few hours, the world was normal. The couple from the other side later confirmed to investigators that they were all hanging out together, just a group of people talking and passing time. These are some pictures that Sara's sister was able to get off of her iCloud. The digital record shows a different story. So at 1:22 a.m., Sara's iCloud captured a photo of her and Bubba Robinson. 2 minutes later, Bubba messaged a man named Tyrone Mormon, telling him Sara was there. It was confirmed that Mormon was at the gas station, but Sara was not known to him. Mormon arrived shortly after in a newer model blue Hyundai sedan, a car belonging to his fiancée. Inside that duplex, Sara was on YouTube until about 2:40 a.m. Then something happened. Her phone, the brand new device she bought in January to escape her intrusive ex, was factory reset, wiped clean. Despite the reset, her Gmail synced one last time at 2:57 a.m. At 4 a.m., witnesses saw Tyrone Mormon lead Sara to that blue Hyundai and drive away. It was the last time she was ever seen. When her sister Michelle began her own investigation, she found that the duplex property had been sold. She and a group of volunteers searched the ground with the new owner's permission, and later the Marion County Search and Rescue brought in cadaver dogs. But the Florida scrub kept its secrets. While Sara was at that duplex, her own home was potentially being violated. Her cigarettes and lighter were left on the porch, a sign that she expected to walk back through that door. But inside, her life was being picked apart. The roommate was gone during the weekend, and her sister Michelle was allowed inside just as the roommate was getting home. Her toothbrush, her hairbrush, her makeup brushes were gone, and most importantly, a binder was missing. It contained the criminal history of her daughter's father, Joseph, and the court records for their custody battle. Someone had taken the legal paperwork for her daughter's name change and a teddy bear from the year the little girl was born. It is possible that her ex-boyfriend Joe, the man who had been hacking her Gmail and tracking her location, had used her absence that night to break in and steal the very things she needed to protect her daughter. So who is Tyrone? Well, Tyrone Mormon is 28 years old, and as of March 2026, he is the only person of interest, which is confirmed by the Marion County Sheriff's Office. He originally lied to police saying that he was out of town, he never met Sara, he claimed that his phone was broken, but the warrants proved otherwise. He was at the gas station, and he was at the duplex. As you can see here, Mormon was jailed for providing false information, but to this day, he refuses to cooperate. James Bubba Robinson, the one pictured here, who hosted the final hangout, passed away from an adverse reaction to substances in May of 2024, if you're getting what I'm saying. If you're interested more in this case, crimetimelines.com has so much information, a lot of pictures. Here is Joseph Mayton which is the father of Sara's child. It even shows you all of their custody, all of their court filings. That's also where Tyrone's picture came from. It has all of the files there you can click on. And also here is her ex-husband. In January of 2024, he actually traveled from Florida to Ohio to pick up a 16-year-old girl that he met online. Obviously not a good person. Sara referred to the two guys at the gas station cowboys. She had walked to the gas station and got a ride with them and texted her sister that she wanted to have a good time with the cowboys. Well, they were known drug users around town, and there's a rumor that she OD'd and then perhaps they hid her body. Sadly, Sara was living a high-risk lifestyle, which made her vulnerable to violence from strangers, even people she thought were her friends. Considering the fact we know most people, especially most women, are killed by someone they know, and sex workers are prime targets for stranger violence. Sara's family does not believe she packed up and left on her own. Tyrone Mormon, the last person seen with Sara, remains the only official person of interest. He was jailed lying to investigators, but he's never breathed a word about where Sara went after they left that house in the blue Hyundai. There is an anonymous $35,000 reward for the truth. If you have any information about Sara's disappearance on March 3rd, 2023, please call the Marion County Sheriff's Office at 352-732-8181. Sara Gail Ebersole is a daughter, a sister, and a mother. It's time to bring her and the truth home. Sara would be 29 years old today. She was 5'1", 120 pounds with blue eyes and brown hair. Her family knows her lifestyle was high risk, but they also know that most violence against women comes from someone they know or someone who is in their circle. In the true crime community, there's often a bias that suggests a person's choices or job somehow makes their disappearance lesser. However, on Unsolved Florida, we do not victim blame and we do not tolerate any comments victim blaming. Sara's lifestyle or her occupation did not make her fair game, and it certainly doesn't make her case any less urgent. No matter what someone does for a living or the risk they face, they have a right to safety and they have a right to be found. The family criticizes the initial investigation, feeling that Sara was sidelined because of the world she lived in. But we know better. Sara is a mother, a sister, and a daughter. Her life has value, and her disappearance is a tragedy that demands an answer. You can remain completely anonymous. If you know anything, please come forward, because a little girl is still waiting for her mother to come home and finish the story they started. If you are local to the Reddick area or anywhere in Florida, please consider sharing this video. You never know who you might reach. Thank you for watching Unsolved Florida. This was a case submitted to me by many viewers. So if you have a case that you think needs more attention, I would love to attempt to cover it and get justice. Thanks again for watching. See you next time, guys.